Welcome back to Good Earners reviewing Sopranos. I am Marius Hunt III.
And I am Spike Lou.
And this is Good Earners, man. This is a new podcast. It's a fly podcast. It's a black adjacent podcast. Nonetheless,
Jason, this is fully black. It's
it's
not
fully
black
black.
adjacent
Sorry,
at all.
sorry, you
This
guys.
is
Sorry.
straight black.
It sounded good in my head. Good in my
Yeah.
head. But nonetheless, this is a Sopranos podcast.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? So we
What
are
are you
here.
gonna do?
Me and Spike here, and what we do is we break down the episode. We talk about some funny things, and we go scene for scene, and we put our perspective from our experience being black in watching this, and even kind of highlight some of the black characters in a funny way. So thank y'all for tuning in. If you're new here, if you've been rocking with us, thank y'all for coming back. We are on Sopranos season 1, episode 4. Spike, give it to us.
Yes, episode 4 is the Meadowlands. In the Meadowlands, Tony starts to question is therapy really for him? We get the Melfi legs and a heavy assortment in this episode. Also, Meadow states that she hates being a soprano. So we want to find out what that is about. Chris, he finds out that Tony wasn't the one who made him shit himself and that whacked his friend, and now he wants revenge. Also, AJ gets into a fight. He gives us glimpses of what a young juvenile Tony Soprano may be like, and the beef with Junior and Tony starts to escalate. Hey, man, you better come in heavy, but don't come back. This is Good Earners. Maurice, what was the first scene?
So as we get into this first scene, we don't realize it's a dream sequence in the initial, but I just have to point this out because y'all know, if at this point, if y'all been listening, y'all know I'm a big fan of Melfi here. But like he spoke in the synopsis, we get big Melfi leg energy here this episode.
Yeah, man, they led with the Melfi legs.
Boy, going crazy on the therapist tip. Like, so they come in, and this scene, just in the first part of the dream sequence, there's this subtle, sexy breathing between them two, and they slowly pan. He's looking at her and she's looking at him, and like before you know this is a dream sequence, I'm like, yo, what's going on? Because I told you when I first watched this, I was here for a storyline of them possibly getting together. Like I was super here for this. I don't know why. I just thought professional.
Never wanted to see that.
I mean, yeah, that's on brand with you though. That's on brand. I was here because I like the.
I would have been so upset if that.
Oh man,
really, I ain't gonna lie.
This guy. Well, maybe is there any relationship that you were here for at all
in this show?
Yeah, like where you was like, oh man, I wish they would have visited that a little longer, or the possibility.
I liked the dynamic of Meadow and Finn. Later on, we'll get to that. Yeah, I like that dynamic. Okay. He was a doctor, came from a good home. I like that, and we'll study that more. Yeah, I just could you tell this was a dream? Like there's this weird thing that they do in this pace that they have when it's a dream that you pick up on after you watched it a million times, like I have. But just when you first watching this, could you tell this was a dream, or did you think like Hesh walked by for real and this like conversation that they're having may be real?
I don't know. It's a dream to after the Hesh walk. When the Hesh walk comes in, that's when I'm like, oh, because then you start seeing some real obscure things going on. Yeah. But right before I get there, I just want to highlight here that like this whole flirtatious moment is like, you gonna say something or what? Like I was like, what is going on right now? So I just thought it was dope. And I know that I can't remember her name right now, the actress that plays Dr. Melfi here. Y'all can leave it in the comments, or y'all can, Instagram it, DM, whatever. But she had spoke about wanting to have some kind of scene like that with James Gandolfini, just because she was that committed to the role. She wanted to have like one of those like throw me on the table type of things. Like she's like real feisty like that. Like I've listened to some interviews, so I thought
Lorraine Bracco.
Lorraine Bracco, man. Spike is the information guy, so I always appreciate you need a brother like that on your team.
Facts. And from the book, I can't even remember the name
Difficult
of it.
Man?
The Difficult Man, absolutely. They didn't want her to come in and play the same role that she had played in Goodfellas. She played Goodfellas. It was similar to the Carmela fiery, like very combative wife role, the one that we wondered were they basing it on black women, but they made it a point to have this character definitely be the opposite of that, and that's why they cast her. It had something to do with her casting because she played that in Goodfellas.
Well, actually, she told them she didn't want to do that.
When somebody made it a point, you're right.
Yeah, because her agent was like, they wanted to cast her as Carmela, and when she found out, I mean, she probably would have bodied
similar.
It. She would have, definitely very similar, especially you get the white caps, but she would have bodied it. But I thought this real reserved, like she scaled back so well on this, like it's so believable, like one of my favorite therapists on television. So, but yeah, very interesting. Shouts out to Lorraine Bracco. So we getting this, this obscure. But you were saying something about a dream sequence. Now here's a weird thing. Hesh, you see, Tony looks and says, "What's he doing here?" And when I first watched this, I said, "Why does it look like Hesh is gliding?" Did it look like that to you?
Yeah, definitely. Like he was floating by. He had the little what are those things that kids be on? He had one of them.
The hoverboards.
Yeah,
in the 90s.
Real early.
Yeah. He was on it earlier. I'm like, why does it look like he don't look like he taking steps right now? Like, what's going on? So he looks at he's bugging out immediately, and she's like, Hesh is my 3 o'clock. Isn't 3 o'clock one of them significant things with the Sopranos, like spoken of later?
Really? I didn't know that.
I don't know if you there's a thing where people just like, what, like to this day, people have asked Michael Imperioli, what does 3 o'clock mean? And really? he still won't tell them. He's like, I'm not telling. And so, because when Christopher was in a hospital later down the road, I'm not gonna tell you how he got there. When he was in a coma, he came out and he was talking about the clock. And remember, that's when Paulie was tripping out about the 3 o'clock thing, waking up in the morning, in the middle of the night. So there's a thing about 3 o'clock. I think I've looked it up, and I think it was on the Soprano Trivia Instagram page. Somebody was trying to break it down or whatever, but like Michael Imperioli would never tell. They was like, come on, tell her. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. So I don't know if this is a part of that or not, but she said, Heshy, she calls him Heshy. So Tony's wigging out, and we immediately get him leaving the office, and everything just is in slow-mo. The minute when I see his son, I knew it was a dream. I knew it wasn't real. I didn't know what this was, like as far as like them putting it together. When were you tapped in that it was a dream? In the very first, if you can remember your first watch.
When it started getting weird, like you said, the way that she was talking to him wasn't the natural way that he usually talks. So and then he gets up and walks out, and I'm like, no, this is not real. And then, like you said, AJ pops up in the doorway, and then you say, okay. And this is one of my least favorite parts of The Sopranos are the dream sequences. It's
really?
Like, they never know. I hate them. I hated the episodes where those are probably my least favorite, especially the ones where they're all.
Oh, I know that one episode was I think that was Funhouse.
I'm not sure the name of the title. That was James something, but yeah.
Oh yeah. But there was one that the whole episode. It was like, all right, I was like, they OD on this one. Like they really OD'd on the.
I never really got the dream sequences.
I kind of like the dream sequences. The one where they was like overly, like that one where they go crazy on the dreams. Like that was the one I was like, But I think there was another one that I really liked. I think it was a different one when it came down to Big P. There was a different one with that one, and I like that one because it was just subliminal messages telling him what he needed to do. Or no, it was his cousin. I think that was the one. Nah, it was the Big P one. It was the Big P because the cousin was the one that OD'd.
It was Pussy in episode 9.
Yeah, because the other one they OD'd on about his Tony B. Like that was the one that was over to tell us what he needed to do. So anyway, we get AJ looking through here. You're intelligent, brother. Are you able to like depict what these things mean, or to you it's just like okay? That's
why I don't like the dream sequence. Okay. I never able to put 2 and 2 together with them. Maybe if I read some stuff about it, but no.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get some Steph Curry shots here and see if they go in. See if they go in. I didn't want to do a real deep dive study on these things because we have enough of those Soprano podcasts. Like we have enough of that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we see him. He looks at AJ, and he goes the other way, and then we get this weird shot of Silvio and this lady topless with tiger stripe skirt on, and they're getting it in. Like, I don't know. These are things I have no idea what to make of. Yeah. I don't know what this means. I could tell you certain parts I feel like what they mean, but I don't know what this means. But I didn't notice, if you pay close attention, you can throughout this scene, you can hear the constant moaning in the background. Yeah, I didn't never notice until I was listening. I was like, "Dang, that's you talk about cohesion." So anyway, he got this look on his face. I don't know. I feel like it's some kind of representation. It kind of looks like Irina to me, but I don't know. He just got a smile on his face. It's probably tying into the bada bing in some kind of way, I'd imagine. Maybe it is, because we know that the funniest scene ever, the Christopher therapy scene later down the road, you know, he talks about what Silvio's activity is with the bada bing girls. So maybe this is something with that. I don't know. All of this is definitely to say, like, what if they find out that he's in therapy? I mean, this is definitely frowned upon, I imagine, in the mob, because what is it? Is it omerta, or what is it? They have like a silence. Yeah, they have a silence thing. So it's like you are low key like snitching, like you're telling what's going on with your business, even though your therapist can't technically say anything unless somebody's life is threatened, but you're technically breaking the code, which imagine
it's a criminal organization.
It's a criminal organization. You can't do
Stringer this. Famously said on The Wire, "Niggas, you taking notes to a criminal conspiracy?"
That's crazy.
It's just that thing. Yeah. I think it's that. What the dream, now that you talk through it, what the dream I think is significant too is the trouble that he would be in if people found out about it. Then he later sees Seal in real life, so maybe that was a vision beforehand. Maybe Hesh is in therapy as well, because I think he eventually finds out. But yeah, I think it's just showing Tony the dangers of if people find out about it.
We get Paulie, and Paulie flips. This is why I'm glad I got these little shots. Paulie flips the newspaper down, but on the back of the newspaper, it looks like the language is in Chinese.
I'm
just noticing, because I'm looking at it now. I'm like, and it looks like Hitler, like in the corner of the picture, it's like Hitler. But I always just thought it was funny that he had his pinky out, like his hand gestures is very signature. Like anybody that dresses up as Paulie Walnuts, you got to do the fingers. And I don't know if you ever knew why he always kept his hands in front of him. Well, you know, like he always holds his hands kind of like that. It's a thing where I cannot remember. I don't know why, but the actor that plays, rest in peace, Paulie Walnuts. I guess because of the life he was living, he always he never wanted to be caught off guard, so he always kept his hands in front of him. So that's why throughout, like he wasn't even supposed to be as big of a character as he was. Like they didn't put a whole lot into his character, you know.
Yeah, they mentioned that in a Difficult Man book.
Yeah, so he bodied it. But we got that. We got the pinky ring on. Paulie, he just looking, mugging him. Then he looks over to Big P. Big P's looking at Paulie. And I don't know what I don't know what that means. There's a space between the two. And Big P, I really like this dude. Even though we find out later some things, I really like Big P. I don't know why. Like, I feel like he could have been a good boss if he hadn't made some decisions much later. I don't know. I'm a fan of him. Some people ain't, but I'm a fan of him. But he's smoking a cigar, keeping it chill, looking at his newspaper as well. We look over, and then this one we get like the most obscure part of the dream. Tony he walks back into Melfi's office, and we see Melfi turned around with a wig on. And then we see Jackie, and that's, if you don't know it's a dream by now, this clearly is the indication. Jackie is smoking a cigarette. I don't know, y'all. Like I don't know. I don't know where they were trying to take this. All I can take from all of this, because I'm not going to harp too long on the dream sequence, and y'all notice on this show, like Spike said, he's not the biggest fan of dream sequences, and me personally, they're cool. I just like it to all tie in to say, this is what you're saying. I'm not here for like the big symbolisms on everything, you know. I'm more so in the mind of Tony Soprano, which is what we do here. So anyway, we fast forward. Melfi turns around. It's not Melfi, it's his mother. And I will say this. Wasn't it his mother the first person outside of his household that knew he was in therapy?
Mm-hmm. She told Junior
Mm.
because AJ told her. Yep.
So it's now that I feel like there's some connective tissue there where
Yeah. I think that's what the dream sequence is about. Like it's just people finding out how dangerous that would be.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We get Tony. He wakes up. He wakes up from the dream, but he's not at home. He's with Irina. This Tony is trash. This man is sleeping the night like that. I don't know how he's getting this off. Like he does the denial thing with Carmela as far as having a gumar. She knows he has one, but I wonder what he's getting off. Maybe they were intimate earlier. He took a nap and overslept, and now it's time to go home. Or did he intend to actually stay the night? Because I'm like, I don't know how he's gonna float that to say, hey, yo, I got business, I got a meeting, and you're staying the night with Irina. Like Tony is the worst, man.
Yeah, it's typical Tony Soprano though. I think it's what it's
Tony.
Yeah, typical Tony Soprano.
Narcissist to the fullest.
Facts.
We get Tony comes home and AJ is still up and he's playing. Oh man, what a childhood favorite. Yes. I was so happy to see this. I was a little boy when this came out. He was playing Mario Kart. I was nine years old when this came out. Did you play Mario Kart?
Ass in Mario Kart. I'd have kicked both of their ass.
Who'd you use?
Man, Yoshi was my guy. I liked it. I think that was Super Mario Kart, maybe. Right? Or was it the regular one? If it's the regular one, it was either Luigi or Toad, because Toad was real fast, but
Toad had them
he
hops.
fucked up real quick. Yeah. And I liked Luigi. Luigi was solid. He had everything was just right there.
He had the right curves,
nothing was
right
great.
speed.
Yeah, nothing was great, but it was all solid. So I like Luigi and Toad. Who'd you use?
Definitely Toad. Like I was a big Toad fan. Like because when you got the hops, like I'd be hopping crazy. Like I just remember hopping on top of people, hitting them with the shells all the time. Like and then the lightning, like when they go small and cruise past them real quick. You remember that?
Now you usually, I do. You hit all the little special things. You usually like these scenes. How did you feel about this one with AJ and Tony like sharing an emotional moment? What did this scene?
Yeah, I love
it. Anything jump out to you?
Yeah, well, for one, I love their house, so it's good to see a night shot. It's not a first night shot, but like he comes into the living room and they got the classic entertainment system. Like we don't see that no more. Like now, we look at you crazy if you have an entertainment system, dude. Like it's crazy now. Like, but back in the day, this is high level luxury at this point. Like you got a whole system. They probably open the cabinets, got the VHS in there. They got got the whole setup. But I like this because Tony came in and he grabs Nintendo 64. Now I don't remember you can just hit start and jump in the game. That I didn't remember. Like
no, sure. Okay. I noticed that too. It's just funny that she said that because I noticed that when I was like, man, you can't do that.
Why
restart everything gonna set back over? That's funny as hell that you said that because
what does that say about us?
100% thought that. I guess video game culture or something because I 100% thought the same thing. I'm like, man, you can't do that. Also,
they was like, and they were like 5 minutes in too.
Just hit it, and then he turned back and it was right back on there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In this section, what stuck out to me is what we've alluded to in the previous episodes about Tony. Even when it's something small, and he's sharing a quote unquote. And he's sharing a quote unquote genuine moment with his son. I still gotta cheat. I still gotta find an edge. I am still Tony Soprano. And then he tells it to AJ kind of as a life lesson. Sometimes you're gonna be, you ain't gonna have everything you need to win, or whatever way that he put it.
Yeah.
But I really think that was a dope moment, and it goes to what we've said about Tony and what they're setting him up to be throughout all these episodes. It's like, bro, I am not the good guy. I'm not like never. Don't get it twisted, bro. You're rooting for the villain here.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a good subtle moment in doing that.
I guess Tony is like, I think we like Tony because he's like, you got a bunch of politicians just like, okay, well, he's the least worst out of the rest of them. Like, so I think that's part of the rooting process. But yeah, you're right. Like he gives him an early lesson on like, in a way, like keep your guard up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we'll see. That's a big thing later on with AJ. Anthony Jr. Later on in the school scenes, but yeah, keep your guard up. Like, don't get it twisted. I do got a question. Do you think AJ went to bed like he told him in 10 minutes, or you think he still was like?
No, he kept playing the game. He definitely kept playing the game. Tony ain't that was, yeah, he definitely kept it moving.
Yeah. Man, what was Carmella at? He must have snuck back down like we did as kids and go back and play.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, it's a great scene though. I think it goes a long way. Tony was trying to see where AJ was at with it, trying to call him himself, spending some quality time.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we see it play out as to how just not having Tony around plays into his character later on.
Dang, you're right. These are early seeds.
All he got from Tony, then we could definitely expect him to be where he landed. If this is these are the father moments, right?
These are the breaks. We go to the next scene. Christopher and Adriana leave the hospital. Oh man, bro. Chris was like MVP on the funny this season already for me because it's like
and Adriana. This was the introduction to their relationship, kind of like this is the full-fledged where we see Aid.
Yes,
it's like in the mix now. I like this introduction and showing their dynamic in the relationship that lasted damn near the whole series. Like this was a character in the show. Their relationship is damn near a character in the show. So yeah,
there's
a good scene.
There's a whole Instagram, shouts out to them, but there's a whole Instagram called long-term parking. Like that's how devoted they are to like that storyline, to that you know, we know what that means, an episode name later on, but that's how devoted, like people, like I looked at a meme, one of those Soprano Seinfeld mesh pages, and they had like one of the quotes, like the best episode, like there was a lot of long-term parking in there. Like there was a lot of that in there. Yeah, so you know, but yeah, beautiful as always. She's sitting there talking to the lady like, "Hey, are you Tony?" Like she is really making a mockery of this, and he's not
hilarious.
Is she not getting this? Is he overreacting, or she's not reacting strong enough here? Like of what the situation is.
That's a good question. I think it's kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah,
I think Chris is kind of like up to overreacting because he knows the severity of it, like to the fullest. But she doesn't, right? She think, oh, you just pissed Tony off. Okay, so what? He'll get mad at you. You guys are family. Like I think she's looking at it that way. She ain't really understanding the minutia of like, nah, this is a breaking the code.
Yeah,
because it kind of shows, and she was like this the whole way through. Like she was in, but she ain't Carmella in. Like she don't know like Carmella know.
Yeah,
right. She was probably going to get to that point because Carmella was much older than her. However, it just shows her greenness of not ever really being a part of that life. I'm just like a bystander. Seems like almost she was a true civilian. I would label her a true civilian.
Yeah, she was, and she was always and she was always rooting to pull him the other way. You know what I mean? Like she wanted to focus on his habit of writing and some of the other things that were outside of the family. Like she was always going that way and wanting that for him. She understood he was a little dirty, you know what I'm saying? But he was more dirty than she understood. But she always seen the potential, and he always had that possibility. I do like the continuity, the bloody knees. I like that when you see the hospital door open up, he got the bloody knees right away. And I think he's overreacting a little bit because it's like, bro, if they wanted to finish you, they would have did it. Like you would have been done on the dock, or you wouldn't have made it out the hospital, bro. Like, why do you think at this moment, what do you think they're gonna keep like torturing your life? If they were really on you like that, you would have been done. And I don't mean that knowing the Brendan information. I just mean that they had you strapped up, you was at the dock. It was perfect. We could throw your body right in there and go about our business.
That ain't the I guess. Well, I don't feel like that would be the response if you almost lost your life, though. I don't think that you would be like, oh, damn, that was close. All right, it's over now. Like, no, bro, I feel like it's warranted. Like, yeah, they didn't finish the job, and I know the occupation and the business that I'm in.
Yeah. So
maybe they didn't finish the job. Maybe they are torturing me and sending me a message. Maybe it's that deep to Tony. You know, I get it. I think that
I know what you're saying. Like
it's a little OD, it is, but I do
just
get
slight,
it.
Like,
it fits perfectly to his character.
It does.
Like just antsy, but it fits and it's funny too.
Yeah, it is. Great. There's this part of it. This is just great writing because it's so realistic. Like you forget this is acting. You forget these are characters. You forget. There's this moment. He says what? Nothing. No, what?
Like
he keeps, you don't know. He said, you don't know what, you don't want to know. Trust me. Know what? Like that is so realistic. Just going back and forth, like, nah, forget it. Nah, it's cool. Nah, it's cool. Like we do that in real life. So this moment, like he's just calm with this. He says, I heard the nurse
I hate that. That irritates me so much, those conversations. Nah, forget it. Never mind. I will be like, oh, okay. And I ain't asking.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
Fuck
it.
I'm
like, all right.
fuck it.
All right.
Don't tell me. But yeah, it is really good. And then how she laid the news on him. And he didn't deny it either, which was hilarious. And I think she was standing there waiting. It just the small stuff on the show. She was kind of looking for him to be like, nah, that's a lie. But he never really confirmed it. He was just like, go get the car.
And shouts out to A, because she still rock with him, because we know that later line, you can't perform as a man. This is what this made me think about immediately. Like it's this, I don't know, I have to tell you this for some reason, but I still love you. You don't know I'm talking about that later scene? The therapy scene.
It, but
yeah, the therapy scene, like later on. It's that line though. But like, so it's like this weird thing A does when she just feels the need to, it's like, dude, he said, can you get the car, please? Like, dude, I know. I'm just trying to get out of here. Like she's ODing. But yeah, so he's going crazy. Yeah, and you're right about the reaction. Yeah, I think if you almost died and you know did a number 2 in your pants, then But it was
be a little stressed.
But it was weird though, because A was like, you gave Crystal to his daughter, but you was the one kind of pushing me to do it. Like that's the weirdest thing.
Woman for you.
Yeah,
that's a woman.
I didn't tell you had to.
I just told you. We just talked about this.
Told me like that's crazy.
I mean, I didn't say like do it that.
Exactly.
We know how that goes. That's funny.
Yeah, so that's realistic. So we see we cut over to them. They go to Brendan's. Is this Brendan's house? Or they just say let's go to
Brendan's house.
Okay, Brendan's house. Okay, so they go to Brendan's, and they see he's dead in the bathtub, shot directly through the eye, blood, and I felt the emotion here. I felt like it really hit him for real. Like it's like, dang, he had a dead body, and my question is here: how much time has passed? You think?
It's the same day. It's like
it's like the father. It's like overnight.
It's like the next night.
Okay, all right, okay. Because I was like
from the night.
All right, because I'm like his body doesn't look cold yet.
That's why I think they wanted us to understand this was like a compact time frame.
Okay,
it all happened right together. Because if Tony would have been looking for him, like she said that Tony has been looking for you. He probably been calling him all day. I wouldn't think that would go on for more than a day without Tony being suspicious.
Okay, you what do you think they left? What do you think the solution was to getting his dead body out of the tub? Do you think it was just one of them things where since it was his place, like we gonna call the police and the coroner and all that take care of it?
You just leave.
Well, I'm saying like
nobody to know you there. You ain't got nothing to do.
So
with
so it's probably like a police.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to do. I ain't calling shit. I'm leaving just like I came.
That's crazy.
Bye.
That's crazy. Like, but this
is the life they live though.
No, it is.
This is like I can't be here and be no witness and answer questions and shit like no. Hope nobody saw me coming in.
And this is the thing too, like with Adriana, like this is something to keep a close watch on as we progress through these episodes. She's seen this. She's seen Brendan, like she knew he was alive at one moment yesterday, and he's dead today in his tub. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of got to know some things. That's why
this is why it was great writing in the sense of at the hospital, and you brought the question up, and I was going to bring the point up when it got to this scene. Until that, like she understands what Chris does, but she doesn't understand how real, like what this world is. So you are right. She sees that, and we gradually see Adriana start to understand the gravity of like what's going on. That's why she's now cool with pulling up to Meadow School and how they're driving through the parking lot. Now she understands and starts to get it when she sees Brendan's body.
Okay. All right.
That was really dope, I think.
Yeah. And when I seen that shot, it kind of, for those who are Dexter fans, who ever watched that show, it just reminded me of when Dexter lost his wife. Spoiler alert for those if you haven't watched that or whatever, but it was just, it was art. I mean, hey man, look, these shows are
ruin
old.
that for Dexter fans.
The show is old, bro. Like the show is old.
Somebody might be just going on a prestigious TV run. Like, let me watch Dexter. Oh, this is a dope Sopranos review. I'm listening, and boom, Maurice just ruined my Dexter experience.
Oh, by the way, in Game of Thrones, let me go to Red and start telling y'all the ending of everything.
Tell it all the endings.
Yeah, you brought up. That's a great point there. We pan over to AJ beefing with this old friend. Well, I had his name on here. I don't know where it went. It must be on another scene. But this is an old friend of AJ's. I guess they went to summer camp together. But look at how classic this is. He's on a payphone and he's leaving a message on the beep. Now, Spike, you grew up in the area. You had a beeper.
I did.
How does it exactly work when you want to get a message across? I've been dying to know this.
What do you mean a message across?
Like, because obviously he's leaving some kind of beep.
So, you put the number in. Like 304 is ho if you turn it upside down.
304. Like, okay, yeah, okay. I remember that. Like, calculator. We used to do that.
Like the calculator stuff. And that's how you would put a message in. And or either someone they'll put a number and then their code behind it. So like if you and your homeboy, like let's say your homeboy was over at Chick House. He pays you from her number, but put 33 behind it. You would know, oh, that's such and such. Let me call him back because the 33 was behind it.
Oh, so yeah, that was the contact info back then.
Like that's code, right? Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, and no, we're not really contact info because somebody might beep you from anywhere.
What I'm saying, but you're saying this is
from a random payphone and throw a random number in there, but at the end of that random number, they'll put that 33 in there, and you're like, oh, this is such and such beeping me from this place or calling me from this place.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that.
Do you pick? You just pick your number, or
yeah, you and your homeboy, like me and you were talking, just put in the 42. Just put 42 at the end of all of it. Like I think me and my homeboys would use our football numbers or something like that.
Nice,
crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's easy. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, thank you for that insight on the beeper game.
Old school, and then of course it grew to like sky pages and things where you could just like text messages but beepers. So, like we had those, like the SkyTels. They was like. Yeah, a little flip up 3 ways, which was really cool.
How long that last? Was that like a shorter wave than the beeper?
About 3-4 years. The rappers started having them in the big gray joints, and you could like just flip it open and type the message. We talked about sidekicks before. This was like right before the sidekick, so those are pretty cool.
Wow, they sound like like the BlackBerry before the BlackBerry, like the little
similar,
like the planner,
because they had the whole keyboard and you just flip it up and
like the planner thing or the Palm Pilot, like that's what it sound. It almost sound like that to me, but
it sounds so ancient now. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I love that stuff, man. I really want to collect all that old. Anyway, that's my own personal nerding out type stuff. But so so AJ he uses the payphone. I'm sorry, I hate to keep going on side tangents, but this is a real thing. Payphone on the side of the locker.
This is the most side tangents you've been on in any episode.
I know, but
we like 3 scenes in. We 50 minutes.
All right, sorry. It's just because it's certain.
This like the IG clip that I seen the other day was like podcasters talking for 40 minutes, and all right, let's get started. Like what,
bro? What was this exactly?
What was the other 40 minutes?
I'm sorry, yeah. I'm trying to insert.
Have to apologize. This is fun. I think people
insert some personality.
That out.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. It's trying to insert some personality. We not just
like damn
black nerds.
Every episode he go,
like bro.
Excuse me. Every scene this nigga gonna do a deep dive.
4 hours later, it's like okay, let's
3-hour episode.
Boy, it's like you be in church, you be like, all right, now I'm going. I ain't gonna be long.
Is this the season review? Oh my god, I used to hate that. Doors of the church is open.
Yeah.
Nigga, you said
I ain't gonna be long.
Ago.
Y'all don't say amen, and I might be here for a while. Like, all right, you know.
Amen.
Amen, bro.
Let's get this moving, brother. That's funny as hell.
But anyway, is this a thing? You can just say yes or no. In the 90s, having a payphone on next to the lockers.
Nigga, I ain't that old, first of all.
It's 99. You was like probably about what?
I didn't have, well, did we have
nah, you a little older than he was here.
By the time I got to where we would have lockers and stuff, what was that, 7th grade? Nah, there wasn't no payphones in the school.
Okay.
We didn't have no payphones in school.
Because him here, like he's not that much older than me, the actual actor. He's not that much older than me. I think he may be 35, 36. So he's like 4 years older than me. So I'm like, I'm not much younger. I mean, at that time, I'm much younger. But I just wanted to know if you could confirm that. But interesting enough, AJ gets on the payphone, leaves.
We had cell phones by like 10th grade.
Well, Well,
By the
yeah, I
time I
mean
was
that,
in 10th grade, it was cell phone. So that was 99.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a Jersey thing. I don't know.
Maybe so.
So he leaves a message on his friend, well, his ex-friend's phone, and what do you say, boobies?
Yeah, just some bullshit. I think this is just a show of one, like AJ not really getting a lot of attention at home.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the attention's on Meadow. She started in college. She's the
Yeah, she's the golden child.
the star pupil, the golden child. There you go. I was looking for the word. And I think this is a reflection also of just a juvenile, as I mentioned in the little summary there, a juvenile Tony Soprano. Some of the stuff that we would have seen him do as a youngster, the person that Tony was. And we see it in Many Saints of Newark, some of the pranks and stuff that he likes to play. Tony is a big prankster. And we see this part of his personality in AJ. I think this was a great, like, just showing what he picks up from his dad, even though his dad's not really involved or in his life, like you would think.
I never watched this like that before until you sent me that Prestige TV podcast. They were talking about, they were doing some character analysis. It might have been Paulie, or they might have been talking about, it's something about Sopranos, but they were speaking about what AJ's character represented, and it's like what you're saying, like you get those remnants of a young Tony Soprano, like the adolescent version of that, and then of course later on we see a little bit of a difference, but this right here, this is the first time I ever watched this and had that understanding. Like I was looking at it for that. And even though I did not care about this at all, and AJ's polo with all three unbuttoned is nuts. Like, bro,
very much so.
Even when we was in elementary, like my mom would have never let me.
Nasty work,
that's
right
nasty,
there.
Boy.
Nasty work.
Whoo, that's nasty.
It's complete slob.
So they get into it, and now are we to let me not jump ahead here. I'm not gonna. I'll wait until we get to the later reveal of who this friend of AJ's was friend when he his father when he shows up. But there's just this whole thing of him picking a fight, them two scrapping, and they getting into it, get in trouble, whatever. Like I don't care nothing. Like I didn't care nothing about like this at all. Like, and they kind of got away. And when the kids got older, it got more interesting anyway. So, but this is a part of creating that world. We pan over to Tony sees Silvio on the way to Melfi's office. So Silvio, what was he getting? Prescription for his teeth?
Looked like he was in the dentist office.
Dentist office. Okay. All right.
He really, I didn't know about his teeth. There's so many breadcrumbs that they just drop.
Okay, give it to me.
Plays back in with the chick's teeth and Ralphie. Do you remember the Ralphie situation when Ralphie had the girlfriend?
Well, yeah, but what does that have to do with Seal?
You remember Seal got her braces? Because Seal was very anal about his teeth. Like, that's crazy, right?
Yo, that's crazy.
And they almost looked at him. They're like, why the fuck would you get her braces? But all the way back in season 1, you see exactly.
Wow,
crazy.
That's my guy, man. That's crazy. Like that's tight. Like that just got me so excited, dude. Wow, like
Sopranos is great at that. Like Game of Thrones did it well as far as dropping those breadcrumbs. But if you really, like I said, I watched this shit 5 times through probably, so I see little shit like that. But that's just really dope by David Chase.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So Tony, he's ducking off. Tony's instincts are so good because, you could be a regular civilian. You are lollygagging, like, you just whatever. Like you run into somebody, you might be looking down, looking at your shoes, looking at signs, pictures. And he's after having a dream, he looks and sees him and immediately gets out of the cut quick. Like I just think his instincts are so good. Like when it comes to,
and that's why, great point. That's why he's so fucking stressed, anxiety ridden. Like, cause I'm always on. I can never just relax. I'm always Tony Soprano in mode on a stage, like wherever I'm at. I got to be on my P's and Q's because this is the life.
Yeah.
As we'll see in further episodes, especially like college.
Now they zoom in here on Melfi's sign and it just says 110, which is her room number, and Jennifer Melfi, MD. I don't know what the intent of that is. I'm not that podcaster. but I'm sure that has some significance. If y'all know what that means, hit us up at goodearnerpod_Sopranos on Instagram, man. Go ahead and do that. Please enlighten us, brothers. He puts his head on the door because that and him putting his head on the door is like representing stress. They open the door, he gets in there, and he goes in immediately. This is where you were referring in the synopsis where he's trying to break it off.
Yep. And I don't know if this is working because the dreams are bothering. So I guess that we get to see the fruition of the dreams here.
Yeah.
This is where the dreams are like, nah, there's something telling me ain't like that. It's bothering me, it ain't right.
Something, yeah. And yeah. And it's interesting you say that because it's almost like what is more valuable here? And we know the stakes with Jackie here later on in the episode. We know the stakes, but it makes me think, what's more valuable here? To get your mental health and physical health together here, or for lack of a better term, be the strong silent type, not sharing your feelings, not being able to get your release. I don't know if that's valuable for Tony. I'm not really sure if that's valuable for him, because he has stress issues. Like, this is a thing that we'll find out much later in The Sopranos, that at least with him passing out, that is a thing for him. It's been a thing for a long time. So it's a challenge for him, and there's going to be something really interesting when we get to the conversation with him and Carmela. I think we're going to have a real interesting moment there.
And part of it is too because he's not sure, right? That moment that let me cut it off, let me push back. He's not sure if this is even actually working for him. What am I doing here? Like, I'm having dreams about this. Something telling me it's off. He's not sold on the fact that this is benefiting him in any way, which he reveals later on to Carmela in the episode.
Yeah, and there's this interesting line he says, like, let's basically, like, somebody find out and all of a sudden I'm a celebrity. And she says, I thought we made some progress on your narcissism.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a funny line.
And we're gonna find out, like, there's, when it comes to that department of Tony, there ain't no progress. Ain't no progress on the narcissism. Like, we're seeing how he was talking about Jackie in the last episode, where he was talking about he didn't even want to talk to me, or he wasn't even paying attention to anything. And that's when Jackie was at his worst, looking at his thermometer. So yeah, I thought we made progress on the narcissism. That's funny.
No, sir.
So they're going through it, and she's really trying to figure out what's going on, and he's just laying it all out there like they normally do.
Go ahead.
So she goes and says, so your mother did teach you something. It's like, if I ask you about your life, who you talk to, who you trust, I'd have to plead the fifth. Now, this is a part I like, because again, this was a storyline I was here for. I already spoke about. And he says, that's cute. And she kind of broke the fourth wall. And that's where I feel like she had that connection, like, with him. Well, at least she had an attraction for him. Like, I don't think she was ever going to break her professionalism for it. I never thought that. But I do think, but this acting from Lorraine Bracco right here, like, she states,
really?
What?
I picked up something different from that. And maybe because I'm definitely not here for the affairs.
This is I love this. Thing. I love this.
What I picked up is that she's now breaking the fourth wall is good. That, not in a romantic standpoint, I didn't see for me. She's now seeing Tony as a more regular person. You're starting to do this. You're starting to come here. First, he was this mafia guy. I don't know what to expect. She was kind of timid, not really applying as best she could her profession, knowing that she was kind of scared of it. Here, I feel like that she's in mode. I'm talking to him like I would talk to a regular person. I'm not having to be as guarded. Hence the Fifth Amendment line where she drops that. Like, I would say that with a regular person. Previous sessions, I think that she would have been more guarded and not even let that slip. I think that it shows her vulnerabilities with Tony is starting to open, starting to melt away. She's starting to get comfortable with really prying on what's going on in there.
I can see that. What gets me though, it's like, how does, because it almost seems like this doesn't happen often for Jennifer Melfi. It doesn't happen often for her. So
just disrespectful, Dr. Melfi. People earn that doctor title, sir.
Nah, well, I broke it down the way. Look at this. These are bars right here because we just said that.
You call her Jennifer.
I call her Jennifer because she got comfortable with Tony like that. So I'm getting comfortable.
Oh, so that was Jennifer. That wasn't Dr.
That was Jennifer right there. She broke character for a second. She broke the fourth wall. Yeah, but Dr. Melfi, respect.
Try that with no real doctor. No, don't
never
try
that. Never that. No. I'm gonna make up a title for myself. Like I'm gonna be like Lauryn Hill, like Miss Lauryn Hill. Like you got to say like a pimp named Slickback. Like you have
Esquire
to say
probably would fit you perfectly. You probably
Esquire from ATL.
No, you know that's a title. Maurice Hunt III Esquire.
Esquire, I like that. Thank you,
like
sir.
A lawyer, but you have to know law. Oh, I'm sorry,
bro. Come on, pull.
You never seen that movie with Denzel Esquire?
Nah, he was looking too goofy. I was like,
Nah, that's your bag.
It's better than Great Debaters.
I've never seen Great Debaters.
All right,
I wouldn't dare.
I'm gonna stop you right there, brother.
I wouldn't dare.
I will stop you right there. Movie, and you want me to watch Denzel?
Let me guess how it ends. Let me guess how that ends. They win some famous debate.
I mean, yeah, but still, it's just good.
Exactly.
Acting.
So that's the.
So what's?
I hate every movies like that.
But every movie is like majority of movies are predictable. Like that's why.
That's why I watch a lot of movies. I watch mostly TV shows.
I don't watch a lot of movies because I don't have the commitment level for.
Yeah, I'm not here to get a plot solved in 2 hours.
Yeah,
I would rather
that
take
part.
10.
Yeah, that part.
I would rather it take 10 hours.
Yeah,
give me some real stuff.
Which is why we have The Sopranos, because it's one of those things you really work out and you can get a different perspective every time. But hey, any of y'all can hit us up. Y'all already know the Instagram. Y'all can hit us up. Anybody here for Tony for? Yes, I just came up with that Tony for Jennifer and Tony. Yeah, I'm here for Tony for. Yeah. All right, so we pan over to Adriana and Chris. They pick Meadow up from school. She's outside with her friend Hunter. She's funny line. She's like, "Did Brendan get my poem?" That is so funny because it's like I remember writing poems like chicks like at school. Like that was like the low key approach. Like trying to, yeah. I was R&B guy. Yeah, but I thought that was funny in the fact that like he's dead and then but
yeah, and how naive that she is.
Yeah, naiveness. Like you ain't. Yeah. I mean, she does have a chance because we knew that's how it worked. It was always like some dude out of school.
She ain't got a chance of him reading no fucking poem.
Nah.
That's definitely a smash and dash mission for him.
Yeah, he was way too high up, but man, literally. So Adriana, they get now. Christopher starts losing it. Now,
rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Dead. Okay, all right. Well, because he's under the impression.
Yeah, Uncle coming to get me.
That Tony.
Well, he didn't know yet. I was gonna say, go ahead.
Yeah, so he's under the impression that Tony found out about this, so he's going right to the source, right? So he gets her from school, and he's ducked off in the back seat. Look, she's smiling.
So
she looks.
This is so funny,
bro.
This is a great.
Bro, Chris is the MVP ad for the funny this season, dude.
Yeah, this is a great humor ad. You know, Micah, did you know he's a Buddhist in real life?
Yeah. Yep. I listened to Talking Sopranos.
Oh, okay.
And I'll talk about that podcast on another day. But they definitely have some great gems as far as inside information and scenes. But yeah, so look, she is caught way off guard. She was smiling, talking to Adriana, then he grabs her with the with the manhandle grip, and he is losing it. She's like, "My God, you scared me to death." And she's like, he said something about him and Adriana are gonna have to move to Florida. All right, he is really making, which is a funny thing. Because I think that if that was really what happened, that Tony was behind it, then I think that he would have been trying to do that. However, there's a later scene where he doesn't make that type of play when he was in the trenches. and kind of been could have been at odds with Tony. So I think this is an interesting part now versus later, being more established. You know what I'm saying? As
he's
a
still trying to get his he's still trying to get his way in the game.
Yeah. So so he's asked, he's like, did you tell your old man about the meth? Are you insane? He's like, don't you get it? This is serious. Like, he is losing it. Like, they tried to really kill me for real. Like, this made me think about that Jay-Z verse on the Drake line. Like, niggas really tried to kill me. Like, but so they roll off. He's going crazy. And he's holding her with the crazy grip. And he was tripping. And this we should have seen. Do you think this was early seeds or breadcrumbs to how he operates with women on a physical? On the physical end, you think this has any play into that at all?
I wouldn't put hitting a woman past him at all. No.
Yeah. Okay. Is this one of those things
off that coked up white boy vibe? I didn't mean to do that, baby. Yeah.
Like the immediate.
I didn't mean to. Yeah.
Like right after you broke her damn jaw.
Yeah. He definitely gives that vibe.
Okay. Man. So yeah. Yeah, it's Meadow. But Meadow holding it down. Like, I got to give it to her. She's definitely Tony Soprano's daughter because she ain't snick. She ain't said. I mean, she ain't had no reason to anyway because she equally could take a L for telling her father she took meth and also Christopher. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't have worked out. And then Hunter and her parents as well. But more
she didn't get found out. Yeah, there wasn't no reason for her to tell. Yeah, he didn't know that though. I think that was a good play that they had to show us that he didn't know that.
Yeah. And I think that it still builds the tension for Uncle Junior's the lack of respect there. Like, you know, and we'll see a little bit more of that. But is there anything he says, do you want me to buy you a Happy Meal? He's so out of touch. Is there anything else you gather from this scene?
No, I just think it was dope how Adriana switched. Like how she's driving through the parking lot, she's starting to understand the severity. She went up there, she got Meadow, was pretty covert about it. But I like it. Yeah. Covert, excuse me.
Yeah, and it's crazy because she should have got remnants on how he was doing her right here. And this is family. So
yeah, but she loved him.
Yeah, and there ain't a lot to this scene really, but the next scene, Carmela's talking to AJ about his shirt. Just saying this shirt your grandmother bought. It's in the trash. It's a Westport.
There ain't a lot to this scene to you?
No. You want to enlighten me? Like I
from
Jeremy,
Carmela's perspective.
That was the kid's name's Jeremy.
Jeremy's his name. From Carmela's perspective, did you pick up anything? Like, did it make you look at her a certain type of way?
I think that she didn't care so much about his well-being. Like, I think she cared more about
like the money hungry.
Like, because she was like, it's a Westport. Like, oh,
right.
You messed up.
And she wants to charge him $40 for it.
Yeah, and she
that right there is insane to me. Knowing that your son had just got in a fight. Like the most important thing to her is the shirt. Do I need to call him and see what's going on? And she even cancels that out when he's like, "Well, I'll pay for the shirt." She's like, "Oh, really? You'll pay for it?
You gonna wash the car? You gonna do a good job this time?" Like.
It's weird the world that Carmela lives in and what's important to her. Tony calls her out on later seasons and episodes, and we actually see some things that's what made me think of it too. But this is another one of those bird seeds, literally in this
bird
scenario.
Seed.
Yeah,
yes.
This is literally in this scenario as to where is Carmela here for the money? How much of a factor does that play for her? Even with AJ here, it's like
that is crazy. Like you point that out because you're right. It is like you're right because it is her pointing out like the shirt thing, and at that it's like because it's a Westport, and at that you want to charge, you want him to work labor. I'm gonna tell your father like it's not even about the fight because I guess she just chalk it up like that's what comes with the life. Yeah, that's just what comes with this life. Like you are AJ, you're Anthony Soprano Jr. So yeah,
almost like kind of a boys will be boys.
Yeah, I think so. And it's funny because you see this now, and out of all of the characters on The Sopranos, it seemed like AJ aged the most. Like everybody kind of starts to look the same. Meadow, you see her age, but like AJ is like one of the most dramatic aging, because you look at him, he's standing on the bed as like a little boy looking at Carmela, but like way down in the other seasons, he's like her height, and she still relatively looks the same, but he looks much older. So I just thought
the teen growth spurt, that's tough for shows, right? We see all the Game of Thrones with Aaron, and we saw with Stranger Things. Like it's that tough time to catch them in, and then especially you got 2 years off, and boom, they sprout up.
100%. Do you think they should do time jumps for those situations, or
no? I think the Sopranos played it well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I think by the time they shoot again, like time has passed, so they just, yeah. But yeah, so we pan over. Tony visits his mother's mother with the macaroons. He's trying to do a nice gesture here. I don't know what he's trying to gain here. Maybe you can enlighten me on that. But this is just a part of, again, his mob life. He got to check in on his mother, because I imagine that's what the Italians, especially in this family, that's what they do. You got to check on your mother, your ma. So he brings some macaroons from her favorite pastry place, Ferrara's, and her just being as negative as she can be, that they're too sweet. Bruh. Like, you ever, never mind, I ain't gonna even go there. It's just a thing that people do where you get them something and they complain about it first, then say thank you. That's the worst. That's the worst. Anyway, so you know what I'm talking about too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's not really what I wanted, but thank you. Like, oh, okay.
Right. I can't wear this, but cool.
Cool. So
yeah, I'm not sure what they're trying to say here with Tony, other maybe to him feeling remorse and putting Livia in there. Maybe that's it. Trying to do nice by her, do nice things just as he's coming to see her, but she still hates the situation. So maybe they're just building a resentment that she has for Tony, so it'll make sense at the end.
Yeah. So there's some. Yeah, I agree, and there's something interesting she does say. That's why I'm glad I have the script here. But so it says that she says grown men soiling themselves. And he says it's not like that anymore. That Giuliani, or Giuliani, and then he says, let's stick to the field trip. Mothers throwing their babies out of skyscraper windows. He said, you're always with the babies out the window. This is a thing I think I've heard a few times over watching this show from Livia. Do you think that is a metaphor on how she treated her kids, as if a mother?
Probably pointing to how she speaks or raised Tony, and how Dr. Belfi continuously points it out, but Tony really never picks it up till later, much later.
Do you think like, let's just say metaphorically here, if that's the concept, like I threw him out the window, like because of whatever my condition is, or maybe I just hate my kids, or I don't know, I just got a hatred or whatever. I don't know what this diagnosis is exactly. Multiple personality thing. They'll go into it later, but her metaphorically throwing Tony or throwing the other kids out the window, but he managed to, metaphorically speaking, find a parachute and do way better than she could have ever imagined. Do you think there's a resentment there for that? Because he still turned out all right, even though she did not do her job as a mother.
I don't think that she would. You saying from her perspective?
Yeah.
I don't think that she thinks that she didn't do a good job as a mother.
Okay.
I don't think that she would look at it that way. So I think her resentment from Tony just we're supposed to see that it's just natural. I think like she maybe resented her whole situation. It wasn't Tony specifically. She was mean and rotten to everybody. It seemed like it was just a her thing versus a Tony specifically thing.
Okay. But lastly on that scene, he just says that you don't mix with the other ladies. You don't talk to the nice gents. He just really trying to get her to get active in what she's doing and being a part of this. And that's what it seems like. Now, I wanted to ask, as we cut to the next scene, do you think he came to visit his mother to buy time to talk to Makazian?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's it's like two birds.
100% why.
Okay. Oh, really?
She kind of picks up on it. Yeah, absolutely. I can see my mom. I know I got to meet all the way out here. He said about the precinct, you can't meet there. And the guy mentioned this being an hour drive. I think as the watcher, we're supposed to understand that the next scene, like he really wasn't there to see her. She picked up on that. She's there to do other business. to find out about Dr. Melfi.
Wow. Okay. 100%. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we pan over to him leaving out of Green Grove, and we meet this new character. Is it? I think it's the first time we see him, right? Vin Makazian.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Russian, or I couldn't figure out what that name was? Scandinavian or something? I don't know. It definitely sounded like, because I thought his name was Ben, like Ben, but I seen it and looked it up and it was Vin. I'm like, oh, this sounds like something else.
I think it's just short for Vincent.
Yeah, this guy. Tony throws a rock at him, and he's heated.
You gonna say this guy? You analyzing his name, making it Russian and Ukrainian. He's an American. His name is Vincent, bro.
Vincent. Also, it's like Italian, then probably, right? I can't say this guy to my. Okay, I say it to myself. This guy. That's a good pull. So Tony throws a rock at Makazian, but Makazian is there's a part here, like, and this is a 2022 call out here, but I'll talk about that in a moment. Tony throws his stone at him, and he throws it with like some aggression, like he really wanted to knock his lid off or something like that.
He pissing out in front of where my mama live at. What you doing, bro?
Right. So he said that, this place is an hour office.
Right.
So this place is an hour from my office. So he had to make this trip. You think Tony made him make that trip because he owes him?
Nah, just because he can't meet him, like you said, by the precinct. Got to go out of the way.
Oh, right.
You got to go out of the way.
You got to go way out. I like the continuity of they got old people just and families randomly walking in the background. It ain't like, oh, we just isolating that. This is the difference between Sopranos and other like sitcoms that, or not sitcoms, but cable television, that like things like this, or like Mr. Chocolate.
Yeah.
Not having people walking in the back, not making it natural, but this is very natural. So Tony is talking to Makazian. He's trying to basically tell him like, yo, I need you to do the investigation on my therapist. I need to see what she's into. I need to see what she's into. I need to see who she is. I need to find out about her. She's not going to reveal to me who she is because that's not her job, and she's not going to do that. Do you think that he's doing this because he wants to continue therapy, or he's doing this because he wants to end therapy and you need to make sure he's good?
He just want to know who he's talking to. Just get more information about it. She's going to be getting this information from me. And he asked her, who are you? Right? She wouldn't tell him. So now he's going to go by his own methods, the Tony Soprano way.
Yeah. I thought this was fly too. Tony had the suspenders. You know, I don't think we've seen that looked at many times, but definitely had the suspenders. That was pretty fly right there.
That's funny. I wrote that in my notes too.
Yeah. Come
Tony
on, man.
We
tapped in. Yeah. I need to get me one of those for one of these visuals here. But I thought it was funny. He asked him like about a macaron, but Makazian, this man just peed outside of Green Grove, and he just put his hands in a box, dude. Like, I know this is way before COVID, but even then, that's just disgusting, dude. Like, don't shake my hand or nothing. Like, matter of fact, take the box, bro. Like, gosh, like this is even before like you didn't even catch it, huh?
I did. But
I don't know. I just like ugh. And I think they probably highlighted that on purpose, like we've seen them scenes where
that's why Tony was looking at him like that, like bitch. But he didn't plan on eating them no way. So.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We pan over to the Jersey crew. Is that how we want to establish when it's all the fellas, or do you think we should utilize another name? Like, do we just call it the family?
What I wrote down.
The crew.
I call it the crew. Well.
Okay. The crew, the Jersey crew, glorified crew. They go and visit Jackie, and now it's very good here. You can clearly see that Jackie's in a different room, so that speaks to, okay, the condition is getting worse. He's got a little like dark puffiness around his eyes. He's unconscious at the moment, just hanging on for the last few moments. And Tony's like, what kind of God? Like, he's really upset about this. And this is what gets me. We talk about narcissism earlier. Christopher comes in, so he knows his condition of Jackie. But later on, we see his reaction. Like, he's so wrapped up in what he got going on, he don't even, you know what I'm saying? He's not even picking up on these things. So he comes in, they're all happy to see him and stuff like that, but they didn't know what happened to him. And also, while he comes in, Jackie mumbles, "The fish is in my pocket." We know fishes are another one of those animals that are significant in this mob world, and more specifically the Sopranos, because we've heard the cliche phrase, "You're sleeping with the fishes." Do you think this was a representation of saying, yo, he was on his way out?
Yeah, 100. Like, he knew he was gonna die. I think that was like showing us, the viewer, that.
And then just the writing to go and say Brendan's,
the severity of the moment. Yeah,
Brendan's brains are floating in the bathtub. Like, I just think the way they put that together from Jackie's line to Christopher's line. So yeah, they picking that up, and Big P's looking, and they're all looking, and they're tripping out about it. You know what I'm saying?
Explaining, I like how they, like you said, there's a lot of mafia lore in this scene.
Yeah.
You got Pussy telling the story about the one-eyed and what that means. You got Seal commenting, correcting him. And you have Paulie also adding what he thinks it means. And also, like you're saying, swimming with the fishes. You got Jackie in the background kind of mumbling. And you have Chris coming in saying it overtly. So you just have all a scene full of like the mafia lore that we talked about with that was laid out by the Godfather. Yeah. Also, it does a good job of showing that, Tony didn't have anything to do with this, how upset Christopher is, and this kind of lights the fire for the rest of the season and the Junior versus Tony that we're about to see.
Yeah. Just a few lines. I did like how they was doing that back and forth panning. I think that was great. Like, one conversation happened, another conversation, because that's realistic. Again, hats off to David Chase and the writers. They're like you said, they're having this conversation, but they said our response should suit the message. Now, at any point, do you think it was necessary to kill anybody
on Tony's end?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Because Brendan not a part of our crew.
He's not part of this thing of ours.
Established that, but I still want you to be respectful.
Okay. So, they're trying to find it. So Tony walks out. He's heated. He about to take care. And this is why I like Tony, because Tony gets out in the field. Like, Uncle Junior's never been. Again, Uncle Junior ain't about that. Like, he ain't out in the field. Like, Tony gets out in the field when he needs to. He falls back and he creates a little bit of a submersion later on. But right here, Tony gets out in the field. He's angry. He's mad. He's talking to, he talks to Chris outside the hospital, and he's like, in so many words, like, look, I'm gonna take care of this. Don't worry about it. I got it. Which he's the perfect person to do it, because this is his uncle, and he ain't nothing gonna cross the line with him, because he's in control of what's about to happen. So Tony, he's walking out. He's got that training day walking happen. We see Mikey Palmisi sitting in the car, right? Tony pulls up. Mikey's not
up those fresh Mikey suits you like.
Oh yeah, because he said Mr. GQ. Hey, Mr. GQ, which I thought was I think it was a good call, nod to the fact that, okay, y'all, they're very intentional with how fresh he is. You know what I'm saying? I like that. That was a great,
well put together.
So Mikey gets out again. He's flying in. Tony gets the staple gun from the hospital. Now, is Tony allowed to do this?
What do you mean?
He
stole it.
Well, I'm saying Mikey,
Tony the boss. What? Tony is the captain of his crew. He has a higher rank than Mikey. Mikey is a soldier.
But you can't hit a maid guy though, right? Because remember, because Ralphie, that was an issue. Like, with him hitting Ralphie, he's like, you hit me, you can't hit a maid guy.
Right.
So I guess.
So what you asking?
So I'm saying, like, Mikey is a maid guy too. You're saying because he outranks him, he can hit him. So Tony
This is a retaliation for Tony. So in the sense of, when Ralphie said that you're just doing this because you're angry.
Okay.
You can't just hit me, a made guy, because you're angry. There's that level of respect that a made guy has. Like, you're not just going to wail off on me and not expect repercussion.
Okay.
And this was the repercussion. Like, you killed an associate of my crew. You're lucky that I don't kill you, and I'm just stapling this ticket to your chest.
I almost
there's a range of reaction, or there's a plane that you can, that's what's acceptable as far as a reaction.
I almost think that if they didn't do anything to Chris and killed Brendan, he still wouldn't have reacted. I think the fact that they put hands on Chris.
No, they had killed Chris.
No,
you
I'm
mean
saying if they killed
Chris's
Brendan,
neck was broke.
Like if nothing happened to Chris, they just killed Brendan as the message. I don't think he comes after them. I think the only reason is because of Chris being touched. Because
it's a disrespect to me.
Yeah,
like this. This dude is associated with me. We sit down. We got it right. I got you what you asked for, yet you still killed him. I don't even got anything to do with Brendan at this point.
Yeah,
so Chris couldn't even gotten hurt. It don't even matter about Chris either getting hurt. What matters is you and I sit down with the boss. There was a resolution. I got it solved for you. You got everything that you asked for in the resolution, yet you still took action. Now you're in violation. So anything that Tony do after that is going to be acceptable. Whether it be hitting him because he a made guy, killing him, it didn't matter. Like he was going to get the wrath because we sit down and we had a resolution and you went outside of it. Like you're being the aggressor.
Okay, right, because we did agree to.
Yeah, you're being the aggressor.
Yeah, we got you your
trucks
back.
He approached Junior in that way at the spot. Like, come on, bro, what's up?
Okay, well, let's go.
Why can't you talk to me?
Let's go right into that then. So he says, what are you screaming for? This is free alterations. Yeah, but
that was
man,
a good scene. Yeah,
that was, man. Shouts out to Mikey, man. Like I like him, man. His whip, he had the black Lincoln Town car fly. You know what I mean? He owned it. And he do this like right across the street from Junior's stomping grounds. Like
yeah, he was outside watching because he was on watch.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's like security. Yeah, he's making sure nobody pull it up on him.
So Tony comes in like it's funny because Uncle Junior's. This is probably, I feel like maybe this season, maybe season 2. This is probably the most gangster you're gonna get out of Uncle Junior. Because after a while, it tails off. I feel like as far as not him getting in the field, but just how he talking. Like he talking like that talk to me. Even though we know he
good old head mob talk. That's your nephew. He's a good earner. Yeah. Oh yeah, he works for me now.
Yeah, like well, I'm bossing up on you real quick. He said, so yeah, we jump right into it. Like so, he walks in there. You know, Uncle Junior. And I think it's even interesting, even though this is written from Tony's perspective, we don't get any of Uncle Junior's henchmen. Like we don't get any of them really until Bacala. You know what I'm saying? So, which I guess I don't. Well,
Mikey.
Well, Mikey. Yeah, you're right. Mikey. Yeah. Outside of Mikey, like these other 2 guys, in the words of Livia, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, he said, "Don't pretend you're paying me respect." Talking that talk, Uncle Junior, come on in. Like, don't pretend you paying me respect. Like, he's like, you know.
He really was paying him respect, though. And this is the thing. Like, Junior's not cut out for this.
No.
It's not a good leader. Like, he's operating out of a place of spite. Good leaders don't do that. I think they did an awesome job at showing that. Like, Tony is a better leader because I can come and talk to you as a man and resolve any of these problems before they make it to our soldiers in the streets and we start to lose money and there's some stupid war. What's your issue? What's the problem? What do I need to fix? Tony did a great job. And then Junior makes these unreasonable requests. Like, bro, come on.
Yeah, he was sassy with him. He said, what kind of son puts his own mother treat me like in asylum? Nephew. Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. Like, bro, they ain't got shit to do with you.
Whoa, that's real sassy right there. That was
ain't got
you talk about sass.
He
says he's like, what does that have to do with? First off,
yeah, they ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about, bro.
And he says she lives like
it goes to show how he feels about Tony. Like, you're still my nephew. You're like a little guy. I'm not respecting you regardless of how the streets respect you. I still look at you as little Tony Soprano, and that's what pisses Tony out, right? The varsity letter thing.
Yeah, exactly. And he said Tony looks and he's like, huh? He's like she living like Palvaretta up there. And then Tony said, that's none of your business. He said, well, your friends that interfere in my business, like, you know what I mean? That's my business. He said, you expect me to turn the other cheek. And this is Tony going back when I'm saying the trucks and all that was made good to you. Like you just said, Spike, where we had an agreement, we had an understanding. But like you said, these funny lines of people saying it, but the source of the line don't fit the bill. Him saying Tony never had the makings of a varsity athlete, metaphorically, Uncle Junior doesn't have the makings of a varsity athlete. Being the boss, being the guy, being the star, being the number one. Like, he doesn't have that because you broke the deal. And I tied to Mackenzie, and later on he says one thing about Tony Soprano, you know where you stand. Well, Uncle Junior, you don't know where you stand. we made a deal. We were good on it, but you got sensitive because Mikey told you that the dudes were thanking Tony instead of you. It's crazy. But anyway, they're going back and forth, and he's like, I put my hand out, and you just, you turning it down. I'm trying to make this right. Is Uncle Junior? I mean, we already know Uncle Junior crossed the line, but do you think that he's right in? I guess I ain't got to ask that question because they already made the agreement. Now he's trying to make new terms. Like he's saying, okay, well, your nephew now he works for me. He's a good earner, which is very interesting because he stole from you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was an interesting thing. Is he out of pocket for making this second deal? I mean, with the whole Vesuvio thing and the truck thing and the second truck thing and the driver, you think it's right to...
It's lack of respect again. It goes back to him having a lack of respect for Tony. And you brought up a good point in changing the terms. Like Junior, he knows. Again, they do a great job with the breadcrumbs, bird seeds, whatever we want to call them, as far as making stuff in the world make sense or matter. The reason that we see Jackie on his deathbed and we get that mafia lore scene, Junior, of course, has wind of that as well. He knows that Jackie on his way out. He knows that there's about to be a power vacuum. He knows it ain't going to require another sit down for me to renegotiate these terms. I'm trying to put my stake in as boss now. I got Moxie. I'm feeling myself. Jackie on his way out. This finna be my shit. So that's a better yet. You know what? Now he worked for me. So this is what Junior, this is the position that Junior's in. That's why we saw the scene with Jackie. Junior's starting to feel himself, thinks he's going to be the boss.
Okay, because he says, I answer to higher people than you.
He's speaking about New York. But he was speaking about New York.
Uncle Junior?
In my opinion.
He got ties to New York?
New York is who they answer to. That's like
we seen that in Canaan as well, like with the...
So they're going to have some say-so in who the next boss is. So this is Junior kind of...
This is like a block. Like y'all run this block.
This is his poker face. Like saying, I've already started. Again, this is what we're supposed to understand is I've already started to put the wheels in motion to be the boss and make these plays. That's why I feel comfortable with killing Mikey, beating Chris up, telling you that now Chris works for me. I know Jackie's on his way out. I've been speaking with New York. These are the bigger friends that I'm speaking of. I'm about to be the boss. You need to start respecting me as such. That's what Junior's attitude is and how his perspective is in this scene.
This is like that classic Donnie Brasco movie, like that. Like, this is the perfect time. It's my time. It's coming right now. Because he's talking that talk. He says, that nephew of yours, we gave a high colonic. Bro. And he got a smirk on his face. He's talking that talk. So I never picked that nuance up of he's really thinking he's about to become the boss. Like, for
he's
real.
Fully confident. This is the most confident we've seen Junior.
Yeah, exactly. And Tony even looked at the dudes, his crew, the couple guys at the table for a second, like, man, he's talking to me.
This
crazy.
Is new to Tony too. This is new. Tony's like digesting, like, oh wait, damn, oh you think, oh shit, yeah,
yeah, he's talking that talk. So we can move through this, but I just like the line, one of the dopest lines where he says, "Hey, I show you my hand and you slap it away," and he told him like straight up, like next time you come, you better come heavy. Straight up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't come up because and do you think Uncle Junior was serious when he said that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Again, he's feeling himself, man.
Okay. Cause so he was really willing to kill his nephew for real.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, don't come, like, again, he is setting his parameters for boss. It ain't the same relationship as it has been, my nigga. Like, you coming in here all willy-nilly as nephew Tony, like, nah, bro, it's new rules. Your homeboy on the way out, I'm the big dog in town. It's new rules, bro. And Tony is digesting that.
Yeah, and I'm looking around. There's another guy sitting over by the window, so it's like 4 or 5 dudes. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, there's this crew, and Tony, he ain't catching on. He's like, you don't mean that, and I remember watching it, and I was just like, wow, that means something. Like, I didn't know at first. Now I know, like, oh no, you better come strapped up, bro, because if I see you again. And I'm sure there's probably a wire reference you can give me for something like this, but it's like, if I see you again, it's on site. Like,
I don't know why I read off the top of my head, but yeah, like
Yeah.
it's come heavy or don't come at
oh,
all,
have,
man.
yeah, that because ain't no more talking,
That's
dog.
the line. That's one of Junior's best lines.
It's fire line, dude. Like, and he meant that, bro. He went back to his conversation, everything. So you're right. I never picked
great Junior scene.
Great Junior scene. Are you a fan of Uncle Junior?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Especially not after Saints and Newark.
Oh man, dang. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Very interesting scene coming up here. We get Mackenzie and pulls over Dr. Melfi and Randall. They're following him, him and his partner. He looked like a dirty cop too, boy. He's a scary cop to me. Like, I ain't gonna even front, bro.
This scene, yeah.
Is it triggering? Is it because it triggers like us black
absolutely.
people? Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's just I'm gonna kind of fast forward up here. But they just got off a date. He's feeling good, but here's the very interesting part of it, and we just have to have commentary on this spot. First off, why do you think Mackenzie did all of that with Randall? Like, why do you think he did all of that? Like,
he think that Tony is sleeping with her. He think that's Tony's mistress. So he's thinking he's doing Tony a favor. He asked Tony about the relationship, so he thinks that he's doing Tony a favor.
Oh,
hence the why you out with what it be with hamburger helper when you got filet mignon at home or whatever he said.
Oh, that's what that lies for.
Yeah, he thinks that this chick is Tony's chick because Tony never really clarified.
Yeah,
he asked, but he didn't tell him. He thinks that this is Tony's like Guma.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot. Cause I'm like, dang, bro. Cause I was like, man, he always looked like he either drunk or on like some coke.
Yeah, he definitely was drunk. Definitely was drunk.
So, anyway, now this is very interesting because he's talking that talk, and this is the difference between like a black person in a car and a white person. These are, we know these tropes, y'all. Y'all have seen it. Like, we're not gonna go all the way on the black soapbox here, but I will point out that like the way he was talking to Mackenzie, like we would have never done that. He said, we need to, he's going back and forth. He's like, I'm an attorney, man. Let's just chalk it up. Like, look, I applaud you for your vigilance. So you like kind of being condescending at this police officer, this detective, like not even a police officer, a detective. And, he's doing the whole thing. He's doing the drunk driving, walking thing. And, I know I'm under the limit. Okay. I'm open the trunk. Like, you could never get this off as a black person. I know I'm under the limit. I'll tell you if you're under the limit. Yeah. Like, you don't tell no cop, I know I'm under the, like, you get,
he was a lawyer though, right?
Yeah, but he was I looked it up. He was a specific lawyer. He was I thought it was like a health insurance lawyer or something. Like, it wasn't even like, he wasn't practicing law though. Like,
no, he's practicing law. It just wasn't criminal.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't like, like, I'm like, man, but
yeah, he a lawyer though. I think that shit is standard for them. That's the very bottom of the totem pole. So he knows. I feel like he knows that. This guy's just been a dickhead, thinking he gonna get a favor in for Tony, maybe knock some off his betting debt that he has, maybe knock some off the interest rate that he has to pay. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah, he definitely making up. He's a degenerate gambler,
Yes.
Wait. So Randall, he's going back and forth with him, but there's this moment here where he puts the hands up like this, dude, like, and that's when he just lost it. Mackenzie does that. He puts them hands up and he said, "Are you resisting arrest?" And literally he was trying to guard himself because he thought he was about to do something. And then he just started welling off on him, and we see police brutality. I have to be honest, I'm glad it wasn't a black person here, even though we're gonna see something later. But yeah, it was just unfortunate, like, doing that. Like, I was like, dang, like, that's rough. Like, and I think that they wanted to remind us of these are not good guys. That I know that was one of David Chase's purposes. Like, I know y'all, we're not glorifying the mafia. These things happen. And y'all look at a regular civilian like Randall with Dr. Melfi, and you just see it's like, these are not good guys. Who called this? Tony called this. He didn't tell him to do that, but Tony called this. You know what I'm saying? So it keeps us reminded about that, man. Like, it was rough. Like, but he Melfi says, I'm gonna follow. And, then we cut to, I don't know if this is a junkyard or what is it, a chop shop, or I don't know where they were, but they were somewhere random, but which is necessary because he is a police officer, and he he's under Tony's he getting that bag from Tony, I imagine, or at least they have some kind of relationship here. But he looked like he been up all night. His tie, he got the bacon tie, the collar's trash. Like, this, McKayson just don't look like he likes life, bro. Like, we'll
He's
see
definitely a degenerate cop, and this is like the way to show how Tony again gets his ends. These are the type of people that I'm looking for. That'll take a bribe, that'll work for me, that have the access, but I can use them. So I think that that's what they're trying to show. Like he's so disheveled because these are the people that Tony can take advantage of and make him stronger.
So is there anything you want to take? Well, I guess this is kind of significant info, so I don't want to gloss right over this. So he lays out, here's her schedule. She's at the office from 8, she leaves at 6. So these are things we get insight on, Dr. Melfior. Jennifer is what she orders: a tuna sub and a Diet Coke. These are just little information. She got a 3-bedroom condo. She's in Essence Fells. She shops at Pathmark. He really did his due diligence. So I think he goes on and says she's divorced, 1 kid that's 19. And then, he kind of goes on, she's just a regular person, basically. She does, and she sees a shrink, which is interesting. I wanted to say too, do you trust a shrink do you trust a therapist that doesn't go to therapy?
Absolutely.
I don't
think that they have to.
I don't.
They would have to do it.
I don't.
I don't go to therapy though, do you?
No, I don't. But I know if you can't, I don't. But that's why I'm like, I know when I seen this show, it kind of made me think about that. And I was like, I get what you're offering, but if you're not doing the same for yourself, what are you offering me? That's how I feel. I just like, because if we're focusing on the human condition and the mind, and who's therapizing the therapist, who's check on the good friend concept, basically. Like it's the good friend needs a good friend, and that type of thing. Anyway, so yeah, we that's pretty much it. Do you get anything else from this scene?
No.
Okay.
This is a quick exchange of information.
Okay.
He tried to offer Tony the pervy pictures. It's interesting that Tony didn't want to take those. He don't want to go about it that way. I'm a stand-up dude. I can get her on my own. I don't need the pictures. I like that.
Yeah. Great call. I didn't catch that part. And again, tying to the line, at least with Tony Soprano, you know where you stand.
Yep.
So she has his respect, even though she had him telling her, but that was for his own safety. He didn't want nobody to get hurt. We pan over to Tony meets with the capos, and this is, I think, the first time we see the rest of the crew. Are they all in the Jersey? They're all in the Jersey crew, right?
Yeah, these are Tony's guys laying out what it looks like. These are his capos.
These are
leaders of the rest of. They have crews themselves. These are the leaders of each guy has an individual crew, and they are bouncing the idea off the wall of Tony being boss. And what we're supposed to understand is that Junior and his crew have already done this. They've already had these conversations, which is why Junior feels so confident in his position. They had the conversations, I made the calls, I'm putting stuff in place. Tony and his crew are now having the conversation based off his experience with Junior.
But Jackie runs the whole Jersey division. I think Uncle Junior had a misunderstanding. I think he thought that by default, because I'm the OG, I'm next, but he didn't realize he didn't have the Jersey crew behind him.
Yeah, strength in numbers.
Yeah, because I was just like,
Tony's got a stronger crew.
Yeah, and Tony
Junior
really
Junior just has longevity and what is it called? Seniority.
Seniority, yes.
Yeah.
I like it. They got these big old, is that lobsters on their plate? Like, just eating like bosses, drinking a glass of white wine, just some classy stuff. And actually, y'all know our show is Good Earners. These are the clip that y'all hear at the beginning of the show. These are some of the people that Tony we're talking to. He's like, you're supposed to be good earners. That's why you got the top tier position, the capos. So because they make enough money to actually expedite people up under them to bring in more earning. You know what I mean? So the guys are the top tier position that y'all hear on the front clip of our show.
Yeah, this is middle management.
It's like they call it it's like pyramid scheme.
No.
Okay. What? Because when they say pyramid scheme, I'm like, is it a scheme though, or is that like business 101? Like, once you're able to make money, you hire somebody up under you, and that process continues.
A pyramid scheme, it becomes a pyramid scheme when the person under you isn't making any money. Like all the money comes back to you, similar to the insurance story that you told.
Okay.
That's why that's a pyramid scheme, because it goes back to that person, like you're saying.
Okay. So yeah, they're all over. Like they're all over this. Tony being the acting boss, they're here for it, and they're thinking like it's going to be a war. It's going to be all out war. And they said it hasn't been a war since the Colombo thing. Are you familiar with Colombo? Like I know there was like a big thing in the Italian American.
Yeah, it was one of the five families that they're referring to when they were coming into power.
Actually, is that the Donnie Brasco thing?
I don't like Donnie Brasco.
Oh, okay.
I never watched it. Really. I watched it, but don't. Don't remember. Yeah, I filed it away.
I actually think that's it's not that great to me, but I think it has an interesting. It's an interesting thing when you look at Uncle Junior. So Tony's talking about like there's a lack of control, and it's funny because one of these guys, I ain't gonna say it. I guess I won't say it. I wasn't gonna tell who it was, but one of you guys are a different kind of guy. But you definitely don't pick that up here. Did you pick that up here?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I definitely didn't. Like we speak about other guys of this thing. But anyway, they just going back and forth about what it is, and Tony, he's contemplating on it, and he's gonna have to make that decision. Do you think Tony really didn't want the position, or you think that he was just trying to do it the right way?
He's already stressed out. He knows it's going to be even more stress, and which the guys are complimenting him on. Tony sees the whole chessboard. He doesn't play checkers really. Tony knows everything that comes with being the boss. He knows these things, which is why we see the plan that he thought of later on. He knows everything that comes with it, and he's stressed out already.
Mm. Yeah, and he did refer to that on I think the second episode where he was just like, "Who wants it anyway?" We pan over to AJ, get in a fight with Jeremy. Again, I don't really care nothing about these things. AJ's shirt, the T-shirt under this burgundy red shirt, he got the droopy neck. Carmelo, what are you doing? You sending your son out here like this, bro? Like this droopy neck. Like I remember kids dressing like that. Like, oh my God. Anyway, they talk about, hey, you owe me $40, him and Jeremy, and they bump into each other. And they used to be friends, but they're not friends anymore. They have a moment they kind of smirk about, I guess, this frog that exploded with the 4th of July or something. They're like, oh yeah, that was cool. Oh yeah. And then, bro, what was this beef? Like this annoyed me so much, bro. What is the beef with AJ and Jeremy? What is this?
Just high school kids. I think this is just to show like the no one is really paying attention to AJ. So you get into these little mischievous things that happen. Like we'll see even more of these throughout the episode. This is just a way to write AJ into the storyline. Him doing mischievous high school boy stuff, fighting in school. We see the benefits of him being a soprano because of the calls that were made. We see his dad's reaction to Tony. And then we in turn see after his dad talk to the kid, how he reacts. It just shows what being a soprano is like for Meadow and AJ, because you heard Meadow reference the fact that she hates being a soprano. And you never really get to see that play out. And an interesting thing that they did was they showed it playing out for AJ. Meadow said it, but it's playing out of why he would hate or love being a soprano. Or maybe she's experiencing something totally different because he's actually liking it. Gets a $40, he fights with the kid, people respect him. He's showing what it's like to be a soprano, and that we've seen or heard what Meadow said what it's like to be a soprano.
So they basically set up this fight scene. They say, meet us after school. We're going to do it. We're going to scrap. But they get into, they really scrap right here, bro. And Jeremy like clocked his ass, dude. Like, oh man, like bloody knows everything. Like, and then somebody gonna come by and say, oh, it's a tie. Get out of here, dude. Like, like I hate it as this random person y'all get to fighting and they just, you declare what it is and everybody run with that story. Like, that's so high school.
It was watching. It's a judge. Like, that's how boxing matches are declared, Maurice.
One person. That's why you need more than one. You need witnesses, brother.
Everybody agreed. Everybody agreed it was a tie, bro. I think what that meant to show too, though, that AJ could be beat up by this guy, but this guy folded. Not even really being scared of AJ. He could get the best of him, and then we see him pay AJ later. So what this shows is, again, what it's like to be soprano.
Yeah. And here we go again. 3:00. 3:00. The pit really? Tomorrow. 3:00. Yeah, bro. Watch. So that 3:00 is gonna be a thing. We're gonna try to decipher that maybe. And maybe we'll probably get better at these dream sequences too. Anyway, Tony, he's going. I'm trying to move through this a little bit. You let me know if you got anything from anything. If not, we can keep moving along. Tony is going to. I guess he's getting fertilizer, some things for his plants around the home. I'm imagining, or is this for? Okay, I didn't know if this was for like him about to body something because he.
No, it's just straight typical gardening stuff. I think that's the one of the brilliant things about this show. Tony just doing regular random stuff, and he runs in. They needed a space for him to be able to run into that guy's dad. He runs into the guy's dad.
Mm-hmm. So he
asked no Black History fact. Well, not Black History fact. That guy's from Scandal. You didn't watch Scandal.
Oh,
but that's Hurt. That's Hurt from Scandal. Yeah,
Jeremy, never knew the father of Jeremy.
The guy that's the retail at the store that's selling Tony the stuff, and he says
he looks real familiar. Yeah,
he said he doesn't have any of this, whatever DDT. Tony was asking for in the back. DDT. Yeah, that guy played in Scandal.
I feel like he played in Quiet Black.
He's played in a lot, actually.
Black History fact as well. I didn't know Michael Imperioli played in Bad Boys. He was like, don't do it to him, Joe. Like, okay. I think I know something. Like, I didn't even know that was him. But he rocked with us though. But this dude, his goatee is terrible. Oh my God. That's that 90s 2000 them real thin goatees. Yeah, terrible. Anyway, Tony runs into Jeremy's father. His father, he looks like there's a cartoon. He looked like this cartoon character. I can't think of it right now, but yeah, his father, Jeremy's father, he's not here for it at all. Like, he's not trying to link up with him, but Tony kind of had him at his disposal. He's like, okay, yeah, I have Carmela. And he's looking down at Tony. Tony has the axe in his hand. He knows what he does clearly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no. Tony didn't know what he was doing. He didn't.
No, not Tony. The father of Jeremy knew.
What Tony does. Okay.
What Tony, yeah, he knew he was a mob guy. Like, because he, so he's looking at the axe and he's really like, okay, man, yeah, let me just, because again, like I think he don't want to get too wrapped up because like I don't want any problems, bro. I want zero problems. Like, anyway, Tony.
This scene is great for me because it shows. Like, we're in this mafia world. We're watching Tony and this stuff becomes normal to us. Mm-hmm. But we get to see sometimes like civilians and just how like spooked out or fascinated they are about Tony. We seen it with Dr. Melfi when they were getting reservations and he's like, oh man, you know who that is? Mm-hmm. When he's on the date with a girl. And you see it here. Where you see that this guy can't even get past, like, he knows Tony. Our kids know each other, but I watch the news too. And this dude got an axe in his hand. Mm-hmm. It just shows what civilians think of Tony and lets us outside of the world and their perspective sometimes.
Oh, yeah. You're right. We pan over to Tony bringing the groceries home and he starts to begin to put groceries up, but then he passes out, but he doesn't go unconscious. What is it? Is this what is it that you think triggered it at this moment? Like, we know you say he's stressing, but like, what is the very pivotal thing right now? Is it the Jackie thing or?
Yeah, I think it's the Jackie thing.
Okay. And do you think the medication? Do you think that's a thing with this at all? The Prozac, or he said something about not taking that. I don't know.
Yeah, probably leaning off that, not taking this like he's supposed to, just showing the stressors of what he does.
Yeah, Carmela runs downstairs, helps him back up, and she begins talking to therapy, and she's referring to his therapist as he. So he hasn't revealed that it's a woman, which is funny. He still doesn't reveal it here. You would think that she was going to be on this side when he was talking about debating if he was going to like continue doing therapy or not, but she was like, look, I don't get it. That's why I want you to stay in therapy. I want you to stay in therapy. But if you don't do that, I got to question this marriage. My question is, Spike, do you think that if he had stopped going to therapy, would she have went out on her own or she was bluffing?
She was bluffing.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think she was bluffing.
Only thing we saw what makes Carmela give up this lifestyle. It wasn't that. Okay.
Because, I mean, she's already kind of low-key okay with the Gumar action. You know what I'm saying? She's not okay with it, but it's a give and take thing. Anything else you take from that scene other than, him talking about therapy with her?
No, I think they made it a point that he didn't correct her when she said it was a him. Okay. And then that comes back to bite Tony.
We pan over to Tony, meets up with Melfi again here. He talks about the attack. It lasted for about 30 seconds and he was dizzy. He was out of breath. He never lost consciousness. I like that they always give us those details of everyone being treated differently. And then he talks about his Uncle Junior, and he talks about his mother, and he's real frustrated about it. And she doesn't prescribe, but she suggests a book to read, Strategies of Coping with Elder Family, which is quite the benefit. Melfi's going to give him another book later that's going to be even more beneficial to his leadership. But this was a great book to give him at the time, and she uses the idea of like children being in control, making them think they're in control, do the same thing with older people. You think that's true?
No, I don't. I don't think that's true.
Okay. Like making older people feel like they're in control, but they're not. Okay. Anything else you get from this scene?
No. I think that I don't think there was a lot to dive into there.
Okay. It's Chris pulls up to the hood. Chris pulls up to his block to go collect. I don't know what he has this dude doing. I don't know if they're selling H, as we'll find out later. You know, that's a thing, but I don't know what this guy exactly is doing. But this is one of Chris's streams of income, which I'm glad they used to call out Chris is a good earner because he's independent, making his moves. So, Uncle, I guess what's said here is the black guy, black alert. The black guy, he just says one of Uncle Junior's men came by and collected the money. Now, who's out of pocket here? Is the black dude out of pocket for paying up to Uncle Junior's men, or Chris out of pocket for thinking that it wasn't gonna go like that?
Well, I think this is I'm not sure if anyone was out of pocket in the sense of this continues to flush out what we saw with Junior when Tony went to visit him. I've started to make moves. I'm not waiting. Like the vacuum has started to go. This further shows that he had already, again, while he had the confidence in that scene with Tony, is I've already started to do this, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm collecting off your corners. Like, it's just going to be a matter of time before you realize what's up and have to buy down and get down and lay down. So yeah, this is a great job in that scene to further instill what was going on.
What do you think about this? Is another one of our black characters getting his ass whooped by Christopher Handicap.
I always have to remember that we're looking at this through their eyes,
through the Italian mob,
black people. Yeah, so this is how black people look to them. That's my way of making this okay,
passing it over,
accepting this. Yeah, because otherwise, bro, relax.
Yeah, relax. It choked him out with the yo-yo.
Ass whooped.
Oh, that's a
coming
fact.
down to the hood.
Boy.
Well, and the thing is too, the reason why he's collecting here is because I think this is their old neighborhood, so this is their stomping grounds, right? You're gonna be making money here.
Right.
Y'all out here on the block standing, like y'all gotta pay me, y'all gotta upkick me. That's what the mob does. Y'all out here doing this, and I need a little racket off it. I need my little 10% in order, or shit gonna be ugly for you.
Is 10 when he said 10 points? Is that 10% when they say points? Oh, okay. Because I always wonder what it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
We pan over to AJ.
If they say I get points on the package, it's a percentage off. I got 2 points on the package, so all the money you make, I get 2% off of it.
Okay, because I thought it was something else. Because I'm like, that's not a lot, but I mean, I guess if they got a lot of streams of income,
you got a lot of money coming in.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's
and then if you're doing it a lot of places, like you think he got him right there selling dope that he getting the 10% from. Maybe he got another nigga up the street that he getting the 10% from. He got businesses that pay the mafia for protection that you're getting a 2 or 3% from. And when they say making collections, that's what they're doing, like going out picking up my percentages from all of these different companies. That's why the collections part is so important to them.
Is that equity or gratuity?
What do you mean?
I'm trying to, because I watched Shark Tank. This is why that's where I'm getting this from.
I don't know if that question applies, but tell me more what you were
okay, so equity, I get because equity is like they'll say
this is off what you made. This is off profit. Neither one of those.
Okay, gratuity. So it's,
this would be off the profit.
Yes. So that's royalty or royalty.
Yeah, royalties. Exactly.
Royalty.
That's what that is.
Okay.
That's the word you're looking for. Absolutely.
Right. I'm trying to sound all sophisticated over here. This guy.
Royalties is the word. That is it.
But yeah, so we get AJ, Jeremy meet up after school, and basically Jeremy punks out and does it. Now the big reveal is here. I didn't catch this the first few times, but now I'm starting to catch it. obviously Jeremy's father told him, yo, pay him this $40 and leave him alone. He is Tony Soprano's son, and we don't want no problems. Is that was a clear indication there?
In fact, what happened.
I never caught
and
that.
Also, too, it goes to show this guy was fully aware of what's going on in his son's life. Being a normal parent, Tony has no idea that this is happening or that he swayed the situation in any way by just this random meeting in the garden with this guy's father. Mm-hmm. However, this guy, normal life, sitting down at dinner, probably talking to his son, realizes that he's in this beef with AJ Soprano, and hey, I need to handle this.
Yes. And that makes sense. Really cool. I think the only reason I caught that this time is because of the information Meadow reveals to AJ later. Because I don't think I really was putting it together until she said it there, and then I think that makes sense why he was looking the way he was looking later on in this episode. And, people mad about it or whatever, but that's teenagers, We pan over to Tony, and the boys find out. Tony is in the Bada Bing. He's reading the elder care book that Melfi was looking at. He has this weird, like, sad look on his face, but I don't know if it's like that when you start reading the book, you get a little sleepy. Like, I don't know, that he kind of looked like that to me, but I don't know.
I think he was just sad. Sad. It hurt him. That was his sad shock face.
I mean, what was he sad about at that moment? Because the news wasn't revealed.
His friend died.
Well, it wasn't revealed yet. This when he first came in, he was reading the book and he had that kind of like, oh no.
Oh, I thought she was talking about the news. I don't know. I didn't see that face now.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering. I'm like, he has this weird, like, and then he puts the book down. He looks at his watch, and then that's when that's why I was like, I don't know. He had that, so he gets ready to take his.
Maybe he was feeling away because he took the medication. Maybe he was feeling a certain type of way, like that. One of the spells was about to come over. Because he took the meds out of his pocket.
He did take the. Which looked like he take it with alcohol.
His head was kind of getting a little foggy.
And so then we get that Jackie on the news. He says turn it down, and they stop everything. Like the boss, so they stop the music, the dancers stop, and they find out that Jackie April has passed away. And I see in the background of the news that they had a April roofing. So I guess that was one of his streams of income. I'm always interested to see what these guys have. So I guess that was one of his streams of income. But we've finally found out that the acting boss of Echo or Eckley, Jackie April, has passed away. There it was. Urkel Eckley DeMayo. It's so weird. I guess they're keeping coverage on the mob. I was trying to figure out why would they find out this way first versus any other way. But I guess that's how it goes, Anyway, so we find out this news and they're going through it. And Tony, now, do you think Tony really feels something? We talking about last episode.
Yeah, that's his friend.
Frankenstein thing. So he does feel some things.
Mm-hmm. I think, and he knows this is how people look towards him to act about this situation too.
Okay. He's going through it. They immediately come over there, they get the drinks going. They're ready to kind of, start coping and dealing with it. And, it was rough. And she said, I'll never forget where I was this day. I don't know if that was the same girl from nah, that's not her. It was a different one. I thought it was, but that's a different one. But they hugging, they going through it. Seal gets the liquor from under the cabinet. Like they get into it, they hugging like they lost a real one today. That's rough out here. Like that was our guy. Jackie was a respectable guy. The moment is quickly interrupted when Christopher walks in and he is heated because of what just happened when he went to his block. Uncle Junior's men collecting money off of his block. So he's in here. He has no idea what's going on. Narcissism. He says, let's go full DEFCON 4. Let's go Scarface with the shotgun. Say hello to my little friend. If we don't do anything, I have to question your leadership. And Tony, they're trying to warn him like, yo, chill out, bro. Not right now, but he's too locked in, too passionate. I've been that person before, just over the top and didn't read the room. Anything you take away from?
Shocker. That's a shocker.
I was a young boy once. Yeah. Anything else you take away from the scene with the Jackie and Diane and Christopher coming in and
Yeah, Chris is outside. So the what we're supposed to understand from this as the viewer, like Tony is a boss. He's not outside like Chris. Chris out in the streets. I'm making collections or whatever it may be. I'm telling you that Junior been like he done made moves. Like shit is happening out here. Y'all sitting in here like mourning and shit. I think it shows the differences of generations. Even with Junior, it shows the differences of generation as to I know this is about to happen. Let me get in front of it. Tony was just playing it by ear. Junior had plans in effect a couple weeks ago, as you can tell from out in the streets. This is a Game of Thrones pun too. Like I don't know if you watched the House of Dragons yet, right?
Not yet.
You ain't watched it.
I've only watched 3 episodes, but
way back in the early days of Game of Thrones, this is the same thing. If you notice, when something happens to the king, the people who come out on top are the people who start moving before the king dies, not wait till they die. Like Ned had this problem in Game. I just watched this, so I know I don't get off the top of my head. But Ned had this problem in Game of Thrones when the first season, when the king was about to die, his friend, he was waiting until he died. Meanwhile, Cersei already making plans. I already got everybody on lock and everything is ready to go. As soon as he do die, if you do, you waiting too late. Same thing here. Junior made the great decision of, I got to go ahead and get stuff in motion. And the reason I brought up House of Dragons, you see the same thing play out in this season there too. King is on his deathbed, one side waiting and trying to see what's happening. The other side already got plans in motion. I think that's what we see here. That's pretty dope.
That's kind of a beneficial way to look at things. Like, wow. Anyway, I can go on to that, but I ain't trying. We've been here for a while, but this is kind of what
we're going super long.
But I mean, well, we can move through however you want to do it. I can just kind of move through the scenes and Anyway, next. Good. Okay. Some of y'all loving this. Some people loving this long formatting. Some people ain't. But okay. We move over. Tony pulls up on Uncle Junior, strapped and ready to negotiate. I don't know how much. Well, I think he just strapped because he said not to make sure if you come heavy. Even though they checked him, which I don't understand why they checked him, but they know he got to come strapped up. He got his hands up. He walks in. This is basically, we don't have to spend a lot of time here, but there is a thing I do want to call out here. He basically said, Uncle Junior, like, look, we know Jackie's out. Look, you're going to be number one. At this point, do you know that he's going to be number one? I mean, do you know that Tony is finessing the fake number one thing with Uncle Junior?
I don't think Tony's finessing it. I think Tony is being genuine.
Okay.
I think Tony knows the benefits of Junior being number one. He's probably already went through that in his head as far as a police thing, but he also wants to make it right. Like, I just want a good relationship with my uncle. I don't want to be disrespectful. And even though he had to still negotiate terms, he went in there, like you said, hands up. I'm going to make it appear like you're still strong to your people here and give you, like, I'm going to totally wave the white flag. And he waited to negotiate terms until they came in on the hook. Like, look, bro, like, I love you as my uncle, but this is what I need to make this happen. He didn't lead with that. He led with love, and I think that's why Junior understood that Tony was trying to show him respect, and that's what made me think that it was genuine. Because if had it not been genuine in him submitting that position, then I feel he would have led with the terms. Okay. He let the terms be at the end. I led with love.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and I guess because he kind of, it's almost like I'm giving you the title, but you don't have the. We'll find it out later. You know what I'm saying? Later,
but I feel like this was genuine. Like, you got the title at all. Like, I'm leading with love. I don't want this to be anything different. You earned it. You my uncle. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
This is what I need though, because I am coming from a position of power.
Okay. I like
this being respectful as I can be.
Only reason I said that, when we're moving along here, but it was just because when he gets to the funeral scene, we're gonna get there. But it's like he knew, I got them behind me though. So you're giving him this title, but it don't mean nothing. And then you finesse him out of Bloomfield and the paving union. So you really got control. He's at the highest risk, and you just got 2 places of earning. So I feel like he really finessed him crazy. That's the only reason I'm saying, like, I'm gonna give you
smart. Yeah. That's the thing. That's what his superpower. He's smart, and he knows that the title means more to Junior than that other stuff. Old man, I don't give a fuck about the money. Yeah. I just want the title. I got passed over all these times.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm coming from a position of power. I can take these things if I want to, but I want them. I know that what means more to you. I'm gonna offer you that, and here's what means shit to me. That's what I want.
Okay. I like how he grabs him by the neck and he gets close to his ear. It's all like extra
power. That was a power assertion. Yeah, like,
definitely,
look, bro.
Yeah.
You a frail little bitty ass old man, bro. If you really want to do this, we can do it.
We can do
I
it.
want you to feel my power. Yeah, I want you.
Yeah.
That's what Tony was doing. Like, I want you to feel this, bro.
Yeah. Remember
Pause.
this. Yeah. Boy. We pan over to Meadow. This we definitely don't have to spend long. Meadow just reveals to AJ that you know our dad is in the mob. He's not picking up really. They got this website. It's super 90s right here. She said, I'm gonna print out some stuff for you. He looks and he studies over it. We're gonna see another scene of him panning towards that. But that's it for me. Anything you want to take from that scene with Meadow and AJ other than
No, this is just for it to make sense when he's talking about the publicity and why it would make sense for him wanting Junior to look like the number one. This is just adding to that.
Okay. And this for all those, this is why Jeremy that gave up the money, because now we understand that his dad knows that Tony's in the mob.
Everybody knows, right.
Now everybody knows.
Right.
So anyway, she shows him the website. We move on from there and we see Randall. He's scared for his life, peeking, looking through the window. And Melfi comes over there. So we're led to believe that they were getting ready to go on a date. And I don't know, maybe black's her color because she had black on before, but we see her getting herself adjusted. I think they spent a lot of time on this episode kind of building a little bit of an attractive side of Melfi. She pulls the jacket down a little bit, kind of fixed the boobs, knocks on the door, but immediately that's not what happens. Randall goes into this whole thing about listening to The Doors, which is a band, and talking about these songs and just fearing death and fearing going outside. His whole life, he got PTSD. Like, that's what he's going through. And obviously they can no longer be together because she can't be his therapist and his girlfriend. So anything you take away from this scene?
No, just the shrapnel or the blowback of being a somebody who's helping Tony Soprano. You see it bleed over into her relationships throughout the series. This is just the beginning of it. I think this is one of those breadcrumbs that we were speaking of earlier. It's just like how her trying to help Tony blows back on her relationships.
Gotcha. Great call. We move on we get a quick scene of AJ just studying these papers of the printouts that his sister gave him about the mob. He lays down and he's staring at Tony and him, and it looks like it's a picture of them going on a fishing trip. We know fish, significance, death. We know all of this. There's something there, obviously, with the fish and the line and hook and all that. We get a scene where Tony and Melfi are talking, and she says she's just basically oblivious to like real things happening in the world as far as violent things. There's another side to life other than what she's familiar with. And she speaks on that, which a lot of our experiences can be that way, where it's like, wow, I just didn't know people were really doing these things. So that was my biggest takeaway. And then she kind of, again, like the call back earlier, Spike said she does feel comfortable with him. So maybe that does fit that bill that what you was referring to. It's just more comfort than attraction. She does feel comfortable, and she kind of starts letting her own issues come out. And he's chilling. He's like, oh, it's good. It's cool. So anything you want to add to this scene right here? He's real chilling too.
Yeah, just them getting to be comfortable with each other.
Okay. Yeah, it was just very interesting. Her posture, everything. He was chilling, and still get a couple. Of course, the Melfi legs are here again. We pan over to the funeral. We're gonna get many of these in here. And now people paying respects to Uncle Junior, but it's not the same as Tony. They talking to him basically like, hey, how you gonna do this? And he's like, this is how we're gonna do it. He's gonna be at the top. This is one of the first steps of Tony submerging himself from being protected from the police, which we'll see something change later in season 2. But that's a part of that, and this is going to be a big buildup of the tension between him and Uncle Junior later. But yeah, pretty much we go through the Jackie funeral, and we get this last shot of AJ staring at his father and realizing he's in the mob and winking, and that ties to, I feel like what you were saying, Tony, when he was a kid, seeing his dad, Johnny, understanding for the first time he's in the mafia. So I think that they spent a little bit of time here trying to called that in. Any thoughts on this last scene here of the episode, Spike?
Just that Tony had a plan.
Tony had
Shows
a
that
plan.
Tony had a plan in letting Junior get up. We weren't sure as the viewer. Did he have a plan in letting Junior be the boss? Was he just giving up that easy? But I think this did a great job in showing that he did have a plan.
Okay. Great episode. At the end of these shows, we were a little long-winded, but we'll figure that out. We like to do a few awards. So our first award, the Good Earner Award, which is the MVP of this episode. We like to look at all of the players that are involved here, and we like to see who is the MVP of the episode. So Spike, who gets the Good Earner Award from you this week?
Uncle Junior. Uncle Junior is all about surface victories, and he got a lot of them in this episode. So I think that he did a great job. He showed his veteranship in the game, start making moves before Tony was, going to. Even if Tony was coming for the spot, he would have been at a disadvantage because Junior was already doing his thing. So I would say Uncle Junior, one of the rare wins for him. What about you?
I got to go Uncle Junior too. Like we talking about damn near most improved player from really to me losing all season. Yeah. So definitely same for those same reasons. Uncle Junior, he got what he was looking for. The Broken Balls Award. Who was the person that took the biggest L on this episode?
The biggest L on this episode. That's a good question there.
I mean, there's a low hanging fruit one here because we
well, it would be Tony.
No, well, we know what the biggest L is in this world is death. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we know who
Brendan.
Well, Jackie, basically, like Jack. If we wanted to go that way,
consider that.
Yeah, because they didn't. I feel like they kind of anyway. But
biggest L, I got the biggest L. It's your boy, Dr. Melfi's date,
Randall.
Yes, Dr. Melfi's date, Randall. Big
one.
L for him this episode.
Just big L.
Complete blowback. He thought he was on a date with a nice little piece. She's pretty cool. She's a psychologist, nice legs.
Yeah.
We had a great night. She's smart and intelligent. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm getting beat up by the fucking cops. All because of Tony Soprano.
That's crazy. I'll say Jeremy. Jeremy clearly could have got the best of AJ, but because of what his dad revealed to him off screen, he had to take that L, and he was looking like a sucker out there. So I got to say Jeremy took the biggest L. And lastly, how do you rank this episode? Is it made being an untouchable episode, good earner, which is pretty good, or just another envelope, which is decent? There is no bad ranking because Sopranos don't have bad episodes. So how would you rank it? Good earner?
Good earner. It was really good at sowing some seeds. Good on the comedy aspect, showing a little bit what it was like to be a soprano. So it was good. It was a good episode.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna say this was a made one for me. It started to really move things along, and it tied to the last episode, and it's gonna be tied to the next episode. I believe it's college, so it's a perfect connective episode between the two. Any of your you got a favorite moment, a funny moment, or your flyest moment before we get out of here, Spike?
Chris getting out of the hospital.
That's the funniest moment right there. Yeah,
it's funniest moment. My favorite moment of the show. That back and forth between him and Adriana. The introduction of the Adriana and Chris relationship.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I definitely think the stapler. I like the stapler thing. Like I think that's good, but I think the biggest part is just him dropping the stapler, like how they drop guns on a crime scene. Like that's the silliest thing. It's like it's a stapler, bro. But yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Well, this is another episode of Good Earners Reviewing Sopranos. If you guys want to get in contact with us, you can email us at goodearnerpod@gmail.com. Also, you can go hit us up on Instagram, goodearnerpod_Sopranos as well. We'll take comments, subscriptions, all that good stuff, and you can comment on YouTube as well. So that is where we are. Thank y'all for tuning in. Forget about it.